Hey guys, welcome back. Sakurabo here with another video for you guys. I was trying to record this off my phone, but my phone is being an idiot, and it was not letting me record, so I don't know if you guys can see my face or not, because of how, I have the camera. There's not much places to actually put the camera somewhere, so I gotta see if I wonder, am I I don't know. We're just gonna wing it, and then I'm gonna play some of this back just to see if you guys could see me. Get up. Sorry, there's an ant crawling on me. But anyways, I wanted to make a video about Father's Day and how I feel about it. And I know there's going to be a lot of people who probably feel the same way, possibly, or not feel the same way about this holiday, because not everyone has the best parents, nor the best father, or any father figure, or not any parents at all. And I want to explain a couple of things as well. I made a video earlier this morning, and I wasn't happy with how I made it, so I deleted it. And I want to make a new video covering this that'll make more sense. So anyway, those of you who have been subscribed to me since I started last year, a lot of you guys might have known the relationship between me and my father and my sister and my mother is not the best. It's actually abusive, and I mean that literally, physically, and mentally. And this holiday brings back so many painful memories that I do not want to remember, and I just don't really like celebrating this holiday, but I only do so for my grandfather because I feel I would have felt horrible if I didn't. So that's why I say Happy Grandfather's Day instead of Happy Father's Day, because I don't really have the best father. In my mind, I don't have a father at all, because it's that bad. And the memories that brought back for this day is that, one, I remember that I never really had the best childhood, so a lot of times I act very childish even though I'm 19, because I was forced to grow up from a really young age. So therefore, I just act like a kid sometimes. I don't act mature, and a lot of times when I do act mature, a lot of adults compliment me on that. And what I've noticed from it popped up on my Instagram feed a couple times, that a lot of teens who are complimented for their maturity, the reason why we're so mature is because our innocence were taken from us from a young age. And a lot of horrible things have happened to me, a lot of horrible things happened to my sister, and a lot of horrible things have happened to my mother, either relating to our father or not relating to our father. But one of the repeats of my memories in my kind of shitty childhood was that my father would always tell me and my sister that he wanted us to be boys. He never wanted daughters, he only wanted boys, and he always made us constantly feel bad because we came out as female when we were born. And for some weird reason, when I was born, instead of them giving me to my mother like a normal hospital, they gave me to my father. So the first hug I ever received was from my father, who really did not care about me or my sister or my mother. I was about to say my father. I was about to say my father. I didn't mean my father. I meant my mother. Yes, my father is a narcissist, and I do know what a narcissist means. And whenever I bring this up to other people, a lot of people don't know what a narcissist is. A narcissist is someone who only cares about themselves, does not give a shit about anyone else, and who is heavily manipulative, and they are very dangerous people because they can get like really aggressive, and also they can get really aggressive and start just attacking you for no reason. There's a lot of things wrong with my father who he should really get therapy. He's one of the people who should get therapy. And a lot of my friends when I was growing up used to tell me that I need therapy. Also, you should never say that to someone like at their face. Even though you're trying to be helpful, that's not the best thing to do, especially when like you're young kids. Young kids don't really or at least shouldn't really need therapy. I mean, they shouldn't have to go to therapy, and if they do, I do understand because they've been through something like traumatic, but like a lot of kids don't like going to therapy is because like if you're a kid going to therapy, you tell someone or your friends at school, and a lot of people would make fun of you for it. Why? Just because you're kids. Not a good reason either. That's not a good reason. And that would also make someone feel horrible telling them to their face that they need to get help and they need therapy. If you're going to do that, please do it the nicest way possible. Like, there's certain tones of voice that can actually trigger someone. So you really have to be highly careful of the way you talk to people. Because when people talk to me, like, when, like, their voice sounds irritated, or if they have, like, an attitude in their voice, I assume that they're mad at me, and it's, like, a trigger, then I get all defensive, and a lot of people through my whole life have asked me, why are you so defensive? And these are mostly my teachers. Why are you always on defense? The reason why I'm always on defense is because when I go home, I'm constantly bullied by my own father, and it's either him saying that I should have been a boy. That's kind of him being kind of sexist, kind of, not wanting daughters. And a lot of people probably are thinking, oh, that's not that bad. My father probably did that. It's kind of wrong to do that to your child, especially through a young age. When I started, when things started going downhill for me, it was when I turned 6 exactly, because again, that's just when everything went downhill. My sister always brings up that I was such a happy child. I was always optimistic. I was always out doing stuff. I was always out talking to people. But the main reason for a lot of my childhood trauma is because of my father, and it's also because of one of my brothers. And for that, I never really felt loved, technically, because I felt like everywhere I went, no matter what I did, it was always wrong. Jesus Christ. And, sorry, it's hard talking about it. And even if, like, a lot of people are trying to help me and they talk in that certain tone, again, it always triggers me and it makes me feel upset, even though that they're not being mean. And sometimes my sister actually has to re-elaborate what she's saying to me because she's making me upset without meaning to, and it's not her fault because of something that I felt from past things. It's just the tone of voice. And a lot of times, my sister and her boyfriend when we used to hang out a lot years before, and this was like important for me, for my development to become who I am now. I'm a lot better than I used to be back in like middle school and back in like high school, or at least early high school, not like midpoint and after, because I actually did try working on myself. I'm not the perfect person. I'm still trying because I still make the same mistakes. but they used to have to tell me that they're not leaving me behind, but they're just going somewhere to hang out for a bit, and they'll come back, and we could hang out again later. They have to re-elaborate that because of something that my brother did, and that my brother have always done, and that my father has always done. I always felt like people were leaving me and that I always did something wrong, especially after what my brother did, but that's for another story because it's a Father's Day video mostly, even though I'm getting way off track anyway. But I'm just saying, like, as examples. Holy! And also, one of my traumatic experiences actually happened at this school, and this was when I was being transferred in 2nd grade, so I didn't finish my 2nd grade here. I went up to, like, oh wait, no, 3rd grade. 3rd grade, I said 2nd grade, I meant 3rd grade. My bad. I meant 3rd grade. So, and I loved my 3rd grade teacher that I had here. She was the best ever. And yeah, I was still in special ed classes, but I'm not talking about my special ed teacher. I was talking about my main teacher. She really was the best, and no matter, like, even if, like, I made mistakes, she never, like, she was, like, the one teacher who never, like, attacked me for anything, and she was just always nice to me, and I was sad to be leaving her that day. She did actually make me something, which was on, the mini fridge in my basement for, like, the longest time, but it used to be on the actual fridge upstairs in the kitchen for a while, and I always loved reading what she made for me. It was like my name, and then she would, like, say adjectives that fit with my name and how she felt about me, and it was like all positive stuff, and every time I read it, I cried, because it was the nicest thing anyone has ever done for me who is not related to me. So, like, that made me so happy, and I was so sad to leave her, and I fought so hard to actually stay in the school because I actually liked it here. Because I really did like it here, even though, like, I was literally, like, physically bullied here because kids used to throw things at me, and I did have a lot of friends here, so, like, it was, like, back and forth, but people, like, like, I've had horrible experiences here, but it didn't ruin anything to me because, like, I was still, like, an optimistic person, so even if, like, someone threw, like, a soccer ball at my face, I still forgave them after, like, a week, but, like, still, like, kids used to throw basketballs at my back really hard when I was going to grab, like, a basketball to play basketball for gym. Don't know why they did that, and it was always, like, boys who were doing it, and then people were just like, oh, if guys are mean to you, that's what they like you, but no, they were throwing it at me hard enough to give me bruises, and I had to go to, like, the nurse's office almost every day. The nurse was, like, sometimes she would be annoyed of me actually going there, and then sometimes she would be like, oh, you're back, nice, because she didn't really have much to do. I was, like, the kid who went to her, like, all the time. And so anyway, off track. So I was leaving at door 7 is the door that I'm sitting across from. That's the door that I went out, and one of my friends was actually moving that day, moving houses, so she was moving away. She was, like, the one friend I actually got to say bye to. I never got the chance to say goodbye to any of my other friends, and I actually had a large friend group at the school, even though some of them were actually mean to me, but I didn't care, because, like, I technically loved everybody. It's just at that point, but that changed a lot through my years, because, like, I was just done with people at this point. So I came out, I said bye to her, we were both crying, we hugged each other, and I went out. So my dad was picking me up, so I asked him, and I had to plead with him for, like, almost an hour. I'm kind of exaggerating, but, like, it took me, like, a long time to, like, convince him to let me play on this playscape for one last time, and all I got to do was climb up and go down the big blue slide that you guys have seen either in photos or my stories on my Instagrams or Snapchat, either one, whatever the heck. I did some photography photos here and I post them up because like this place is just a vital part of my childhood, and I still feel like the happiest when I'm here, which is weird considering a lot of horrible things that happen to me here. But also the best things in my life has happened here as well as the other schools that I went to. Except when I switched to the other schooling, it was mostly just like mental abuse technically from everybody versus physical, and I would rather physical versus mental, because mental can literally stick with you longer than actual like physical wounds, which sad. But anyway, so I went down the slide. I only got to do it once, and I wasn't even done playing. I didn't even get a chance to finish playing, and then my dad comes up and grabs me by the shirt, and he was literally pissed for no reason. Alright, let's go. He just didn't want to wait for me. He did not want to let me play, and he literally just dragged me all the way home. And we live really close to this school, so like, I don't know why he had to drag me home. He dragged me to the car because like I was screaming and crying because I was gonna miss this place. This place was part of my best childhood moments and my worst childhood moments. But my sister moved on to middle school before I even transferred to the same like district she was, and that's a district that I just graduated from. And I was bawling out for like months upon months because like I just wanted to be put back into school. I did not want to move schools again. And a lot of times I did have a lot of lonely recesses, even though like I was friends with a bunch of people. And then I would also have lonely recesses afterward, but like what he did that day was very traumatic, and I don't understand why he was so pissed at me for no reason, because I never did anything. I just wanted more time to like, you know, reconcile with leaving this place, because it's not like I was graduating from here. So it was just like, he didn't let me say goodbye to literally anyone except for like that one person when I was coming out. And I was friends with her for years. We never hung out of school, but like we were like close, but not like extremely close. But it hurt me a lot. And then also my dad used to throw books at my sister whenever he was like pissed off at her, and they were like having like a fight and stuff. So, but my sister never got hit by the books because she would close the door and it would whack the door. That was loud. That was a loud clap. Bleh. And then he also threw a shoe at her too, but again I missed her because she closed the door right as it hit the door. And he would throw things, he would break things. And then I also remember a lot of my childhood, my mom and my father would get into physical fights. My mom always won because she's stronger than him, because he's just a wing. He's a weak man, honestly. So like that, and plus my mom has like more muscle than he does, or at least at the time, because like he never really like worked out, so like his arm strength never really like sustained. And plus he's always like a lazy bitch anyway, so like he's always just like sitting around. He never really does anything, so like his arm strength is probably he's probably weaker than me at this point, because like he's always like smoking or like drinking or doing both at the same time, which is not the best combination. Blech. And he's not smoking like regular cigarettes either. So, and he was doing that back then as well, when it wasn't legal. And so like they would be thrashing around, like pushing each other around in the kitchen, and he would be always hurting my mother, and me and my sister always had to watch that, and we were just like, is this normal? Like what? We know it definitely wasn't, because like they were like fighting each other to the death, or at least it looked like that from like our point of view. And then he's an asshole, honestly. And he sucks. And like seeing that as a child is not the best thing either. And there's times he would get so mad at me that he never really put his hands on me, but he was always so close to. And he actually assaulted me with a hose last year for no reason. Because he was pissed at me for no reason. Because like I was cleaning out Willow's cage and I sprayed the stuff off with the hose, so I got like all like the crap and everything away. Because like I always clean outside, obviously. So like I cleaned up after myself and there's nothing really there to clean up. But he came outside with the hose, and I was thinking of actually staying over my grandma's house last year, because like there's times where I had to leave my house because like I wasn't safe there because he was just batshit crazy. And he like I was just walking around about to get into the Mercury. He was standing in front of the Mercury and I was like telling him, because he was spraying the stuff, like, you don't have to clean it, I already cleaned it, why are you cleaning it? And then he kept saying, get out of my face, get out of my face, when I was like standing like 10 feet away from him. And I was just, I'm just like, why are you saying get out of my face when I'm just telling you you don't have to spray the driveway anymore because I already sprayed it? And then he was just like, get out of my face. Again, I was like standing like 6 or 10 feet away from him, like probably not 10 feet, because then I would be standing on the grass, not the actual driveway. Because like I was standing there like barefoot, and then he literally he looks at me, then he takes the hose, and then he sprays me in the face with the hose. It wasn't like that, and I was talking, so my mouth was like open, like he sprayed me in the face with the hose, and then he was just like screaming at me, and everyone on the street could hear him because he was screaming that loud. Especially our next door neighbors heard, because they live right next to us. So I'm just like, he was such a baby, and I was just like, I wasn't doing anything, and I know I wasn't doing anything, but I was so pissed off, and I even told him that I said so many horrible stuff. Like I wasn't like saying any profanities, but like I got so pissed, and I was just yelling at him just nonsense. And then I got in the car and I told my mom, because I did have stuff to stay at my grandma's, and I told her I made up my mind, I'm staying at grandma's for now because I do not feel safe, and I'm so fucking tired of this fucking asshole. Like, that's my exact words. And like she was like, alright, so that she gets into the car, and then we drive off. He's still hosing and stuff, and I'm just like, he was still yelling and stuff while he was like hosing, and then I was just like, he is such a bitch. And I was just like complaining the whole time to my mom. I'm just like, why do we have to live with a horrible man-child and everything else? It's just like, well, we're gonna probably move to grandma's house, and since then we haven't really moved yet, but I hope so, because he's still losing his mind. And it's just things like that. And he also attempted to attack my sister and her boyfriend before that incident, and that's why they do not live with us anymore, because if they did, things would have escalated higher, and everyone just hates him now because just him existing, because he's done too much damage, and he never really apologized. And if he does apologize, it's not genuine, because he would do the exact same thing the day after, or like a week after, because he's not genuine and he's a narcissist, as I said before. He has also done animal abuse, considering, because like my cat likes to meow constantly, so it's, I mean, it's easy to get annoyed because she meows through the hours of the day, all day, every day. So, but then again, he really shouldn't kick my cat. He really shouldn't throw my cat. He really shouldn't do anything that he does to the cat. And my cat doesn't like him. And when nobody else is home, and she hides up in the ceiling because she doesn't want to deal with him. And I feel the exact same way. Highly. And I hate having to see him every day, remembering everything he has done, and everything he has done to my sister, and everything he has done to my mother. My mother has been there for me and my sister throughout the years. She is a good mother. My father is not a good father. The only parent in my mind that I have is my mother and my grandmother, because she practically raised me and my sister, and she was always there for me and my sister, as well as my mother. And my mother always tries to make me happy. She always tries to make Brianna happy. She always tries to make us happy, because our father brings us terrible pain and terrible everything. And he always tries to make it our fault and make it seem like we are the bad ones when it's actually him. And this is why I don't like Father's Day, because it brings up so much pain. And if I do Happy Grandfather's Day, because my grandfather is a better role model than my actual father, because Papa actually took time to fix his mistakes, or at least he tried, even though he's not the most perfect man in the world. But he loves his family. He really loves my grandmother, and he also tried to make my half-brother loved by playing with him when he was a kid. And we actually have photo proof of that. And my father talks so much shit about my grandfather, who is my mother's father, even though my father is just a dick, and Papa is not a dick. But again, my grandfather is not the perfect person, but he's a better role model than my father will ever be. And I love him more than my actual father, even though I never got to meet him in person. But a lot of you guys, if you ever seen my content, I always reference my grandfather somewhere in there, because I do love him so much, even though I never got to meet him in person. And if I could have done things differently, I would rather still be his grandchild. And I'm his last grandchild. And I would have loved to actually meet him in person. But life is different, and everyone has their timelines, and there's nothing you can do about it besides try to make better decisions for your future. I do hope one day I'll find a better father figure, but for right now, I don't have any. But I do hope that you guys know that not everyone has a really good Father's Day, and I hope all of you have a good Father's Day, and just think of us who do not have a good father. And if you can, and if you know people who don't have a good father, you should cheer them up by having them spend time with. Either be the father figure for them, or if your father is willing to share, then have someone who has an amazing father be a father figure for someone else who doesn't have it. And I know that a lot of people haven't done it for me, or at least not yet, but you can do it for someone else. That would make their day better, and that would actually help them to become better people. And with that said, I'll let you guys go.